Hello everyone and welcome back to The Sims 4, and we are here with Kaya and Courage, and we're currently going to be working on making their second litter of pups. So we have Kaya here. This is what she looks like. I'm glad they have the floppy ear because that is such an important aspect of her character, and I'm glad they had that because that's something that wouldn't have been quite the same without that. And then of course we have Courage as well, who's a little bit bigger, a little bit bulkier, and just generally a pretty sweet guy. And we're going to be working with them today as we try and create their second litter and possibly even third litter of puppies. We'll see. We'll see how that works. And I just want to let you guys know before we get going any further into this that if you guys haven't seen it already, I've released some stuff today that's going to pertain to the next season of Wolfquest, or rather not quite the next season, but a set of side stories that will be airing between now and season 5. So if you guys have not seen that already, definitely go check that out. You'll have the chance to vote for who's going to be in the first side story and which wolf we're going to follow. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. I'll include a link in the cards so that you guys can see so that you guys can see the video. Definitely make sure to go check that out and vote in the poll if you can, because that's going to be coming up pretty soon here. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and just jump right in and get started with trying to generate some of the pups for these guys. So I think what we'll do here is we'll start off, we'll just start going through it, and we'll go play with genetics. And we're going to create a child of Kaya and Courage. Oh, that's like a little miniature version of Kaya, pretty much exactly, I think. And we're going to go ahead and we'll keep randomizing because I don't think that, yeah, I don't think any of them look like that. I'm looking at the references I have of the pups, and I think, yeah, I don't think any of these guys look much like Kaya in that respect. And I'm pretty sure this litter was all girls as well. I'm pretty sure, yeah, because I think even Midnight was female. So we'll go ahead and just randomize daughters, so that way we don't have to worry about changing genders. No. Definitely too light. Definitely too light. Still very much too light. That's a lot like Courage, but with the floppy ear, and I think this will actually be a pretty good base for Nakora. I think Nakora took quite a bit after her dad, and we'll go ahead and set the ears to both be upright there, and we'll change the eyes to blue like we normally do, just because wolf puppies do have blue eyes that then change as they get a little bit older. And I think this will be a pretty good start for Nakora, and we'll go ahead and input her name here. Oh, we'll go ahead and save that first. So here we go. We have Nakora. She is female, and she's got a little bit of a lower bark. I'm going to make it a little bit higher. There we go. And we got the relationship set. She's a wolf. And I seem to recall her being a little bit more serious and a little bit more reserved. So I think we'll go ahead and give her the independent trait. She's fairly calm. I think she was a pretty calm and pretty not so much laid back, but not quite as active. She was a lot more reserved, perhaps. And so I think we'll go ahead and give her the smart trait. And what would be another good trait? I will give her a hunter because that's a fairly common one that we tend to give our wolves here, and I think that that will suit her well, with her being a little bit more on the neutral side of things. And yeah, I think that's pretty good. So let's see here. I think what we're gonna do, yeah, I think this is pretty good for Nakora. We'll go ahead and keep that, and I think we'll go ahead and go on to the next generation already. We're probably not going to have, no, I don't want to create a sibling. I want to create, okay, let's switch out to Kaya first so that we don't mess up the relationships. We're going to create a child with Courage, and again, looks a lot like Kaya, but not quite what we're going for. Still not quite what we're going for. I'm kind of just going to scroll through some of these and see what we can find. Again, very similar to Courage. You know what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to take Kaya's looks. Let's remove that. And what we'll do is we'll try darkening this just a little bit. and see what we can get if we kind of darken this down just a little. Possibly this, maybe, or maybe a little lighter, possibly a little bit lighter there. Yeah, I think this will be a good look. We'll go ahead and keep that. We'll hit save here. And then I think this will be a good base for Zona. Now, Zona is definitely a little bit more of a personality. She was one of the more, how would we put it? She definitely had a more defined personality than a lot of our wolves have had. And I think that's a pretty good bark for her. All the relationships are set correctly. And we're going to go ahead and she definitely was playful. And she was also a troublemaker. Oh my goodness, and that's exactly what it chooses to show for the troublemaker trait. But yeah, Zona, if you remember the infamous cougar incident, that was Zona. That was what Zona did. And the trouble she got us into there. And I think I'm going to give her stubborn too. I generally don't try to give 2 negative traits, but in Zona's case, I mean, not only did she get herself into trouble, but she wouldn't leave it alone. So I think we're going to give her a little bit more difficult traits. Now, those traits have also worked towards her advantage, as we saw in her side story, but she definitely did have a very, very mischievous personality. And I think everything is set up there, so that will be Zona. Let's go ahead and we'll play with genetics yet again. We'll set this to Kaya. We'll create, that's kind of a cute look. But not really what we're going for. We'll create a child with courage. And there we go. And we'll randomize daughter. I should make sure I got the gender set correctly because it looks like it did reset in between there. And we'll just check on Zona's gender after we finish with this. Again, we're looking for some of the more darker traits. But I'm not really seeing too many of them here. That's, again, very, very close to Courage's look. I think what we'll do is we'll take this and we'll kind of just play with it a little bit. Ooh, let's go back here and we'll accept. And let me check on Zona real fast. Yeah, okay, it did get her gender set properly. And let's set the ears to be normal, and then what we're going to do is we'll set the eyes to blue, and we're going to go for a little bit more of a brown look here because this will end up being Willow. And so we'll go for a little bit more of a brown look. And then, yeah, a few of these lighter kind of areas, maybe not quite that light. Maybe more like that. So a little bit lighter, but not completely light. I kind of want to change some of it back to dark. Not that one. Maybe this one? Yeah, something like that maybe. And then this really light one, I think we'll set to a slightly darker one. Yeah, so she's kind of a very dark brown in color, and not quite pure black, but also not quite very light brown either. And I'm going based off their puppy looks here. Some of them did kind of shift in their coloration as they got older, and when we work with older adults in this, we will be changing that. So if we go back and work with any of the side story wolves, we'll adjust their coloration properly. But I'm just going with the way that the game represented them as puppies, combined with a little bit of what I remember of their adult looks. So we'll go ahead, we'll add in her name. Her name is Willow. She is female. I imagine she had a little bit of a higher pitched bark. And again, wolves don't really bark in the same way dogs do. They tend to have, they bark just to warn of predators pretty much. So like they'll bark as an alert to the rest of the pack. Not quite the same way as dogs, but again, this game does represent them as dogs, so there's not so much we can do about that. All the relationships seems to be set properly, and we'll go ahead and add some traits. So I think Willow was again a little bit on the quieter side, but I'm going to give her the friendly trait because I think that was a friendly trait. That's kind of a little bit different from what we have had. Friendly, probably playful, and maybe hunter. Again, some more of the generic traits, a little bit more, but still getting some variety in there as well. That's one thing that I do try for, is even if we don't have a character with a lot of distinctive traits, to still try and get some variety so not all of them have the same combination of traits. And let's go ahead and we'll play with genetics one more time. We'll put in Kaya, create her child with courage, and we have randomized daughter again. And last but not least, I'm going to actually go with this look, because we have, I think this is going to be Midnight, right? Nakora, Zona, Willow, and Midnight. So yes, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll change her eyes to be blue just because that is what we do here. And I think Midnight, I'm trying to remember what I recall about Midnight. I think she was also a little bit more aloof, perhaps. So we'll go with independent. I think she was a little bit more adventurous. And we'll give her the hunter trait as well, because I think those will suit her pretty well. And so then we have kind of a little bit of a broader range. Oh, let's check her bark as well. Then we'll have a little bit of a broader range of traits as well here too. And I think this looks pretty good. So we have Kaya, courage, and then all the relationships seem to be set properly. And that's pretty good for the second litter here. And I think we're probably... yeah, I think we'll go ahead and try and do the third litter as well. Now, the third litter has some more recognizable wolves that we've seen a lot more of because it actually contains our two heirs. But we'll get to that momentarily. For now, I'm going to go ahead and save this, and we'll come back in just a little bit to we'll come back to work with the next generation here. So give me one moment. Alright, and here we go. So we're back with Kaya and with Courage here again. And we're going to go ahead and create their third and final litter. So this was actually the litter from where our two heirs came from, and this was also the litter that had a rather disastrous ending, if you guys remember that back in the end of Season 2. This was actually... we had a little bit of a disaster at the end, and things didn't quite go according to plan, so definitely check that out if you haven't seen it already. It was quite an amazing story and quite a dramatic ending to our second season. And so we're going to go ahead and create the pups from that litter as well, though, and this will be the last one with Kaya and Courage, and then next time we'll be moving on to the Galaxy Pack, and you're going to meet its founders here this time, and we'll go ahead and we'll create a child with Courage again. We're going to randomize. We'll start by randomizing the sun here, and just give me one moment. Here we go. We'll go ahead and randomize sun because we had an even gender split this time. And we'll just start by randomizing and seeing if we get any that are kind of close. We had two more brownish looking pups, I think, and two very dark in coloration ones. So I think we'll go ahead and go with this look here, and let's save first. We'll save here, and this will be our base for Nova. And let's go ahead and we'll change his eye color because he is still a puppy here. We'll put his ears to upright because he didn't have a flopped ear or anything like that. And we'll go ahead and kind of play a little bit more with some of these. I'm going to give him a little bit more, well, maybe not. I don't really want him to be like super bluish or anything, but I don't want him to look exactly like Courage either. We'll just go, because you know what, he had a very striking black coat. We'll just go with straight black here and give him a pure black look. Maybe a little bit of lighter, possibly. No, I think we'll just go ahead and give him a pure black look because he was very, very dark in color and didn't have a lot of extra... Like, he didn't have a lot of the lighter coloration at all. So we'll go ahead and we will name him Nova. And next time we'll probably be working with him and Andromeda, who we'll be creating in a little bit here. Let's go ahead and get his bark set up. So he had a pretty deep howl, I remember. And we'll reflect that in his bark. He is male, his relationships are set properly, and we're going to go on to his traits. So he definitely was adventurous. He was one of the wanderer puppies. For sure. In fact, he was often the instigator of that. He was... I'd probably say active. He was very, very fast. That's his most notable trait, was probably how fast he was, because he had the highest speed of any wolf we've ever played as so far. He was very, very fast. He had 90%. And that meant he could outrun pretty much anything, just not for very long. So we'll go ahead and give him the active trait too, I think. I think that will fit him pretty well. And let's see. He was a little bit of a troublemaker, but I don't think quite to the extent that it would actually... Well, actually maybe, because you know what? He was the sort who was, even as an adult, getting into trouble, and always off, like, fighting the cougars and stuff. And not necessarily always... He was kind of a goofball. He didn't always attend to the things he needed to. I think we will give him the troublemaker trait because he was kind of... He was a troublemaker in his own right, I think. And I think that fits him better than pretty much any of the other traits here. And so I think this will be a good base for Nova. Let's just see how he looks as a grown-up. And I think that's going to be a pretty solid start. We'll probably play with some things like the ears here. And we'll see if we... Let's actually just adjust some of that now. I'm going to make the ears a little bit wider and not quite as tall, I think. And then, of course, his eye color will change as an adult. But we'll play with him some more here in the next time. So for now, let's change him back to a puppy. And we'll leave him like this for now. And I think that'll be a good start for Nova. So let's go ahead and we'll randomize genetics again. We're going to create... let's change to Kaya because we can avoid messing up the relationships this way if we do it in the proper order. And I'm actually going to keep this look because I think this will be a decent start for Finch, who was a little bit lighter in color. I think that's a pretty good bark for her, and we have the relationship set properly. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to darken... Oh, that's not what I want to darken. I want to make that... a little bit lighter, probably. Not quite so orangey. Maybe more like that. And then this, a little lighter. There we go. I'm going to change this to the same color. And then this, we'll make it a little darker. Actually, this one was kind of a nice color. And then if we could do some of the darker look over that, and then, well... Not quite, actually, I think. Let's see. I think... We'll play around with this a little bit more. I'm going to set all the undersides to white so that we can really see the effect of the coloration. I think that's pretty good. I think this will be good for the back. And then, what does this do? This... Alright, we'll leave that as white for now. This is... Okay, that's a little bit more... Okay, I see where that's going now. Okay. I think what we'll do is... I kind of want this to be a slightly different color as well. That's really orangey, though. That's bright orange. That's, like, Cheeto colored. This color is what I'm looking for. So let's see if we have anything a little bit more like that, maybe. And then this can kind of go to a sort of creamish, off-whitish color, perhaps. Yeah, I think that'll look pretty good. And then what we'll do is we'll change the nose, because I'm pretty sure she had a dark nose. Would chocolate look better? Actually, chocolate would look pretty good. And I think we'll go ahead and give her these blue eyes as well, just because that is how they look as a pup. And we'll go ahead, I remember her being a little bit quieter again. She didn't have quite as defined of a personality, I think. She was probably, we'll go with sleuth, which basically translates out to curious. We'll go with friendly. And we'll go with hunter. I think that's a pretty good trait. And I think this will be a good start for Finch. So let's go ahead and we'll create one more. We'll play with genetics again. Oops, we got to change which wolf we're working with first. We'll create child with courage. And we'll keep randomizing and just see. That was kind of cool, except we didn't have any light-colored pups. And keep rolling Kaya's looks for some reason. You know what we'll do is we'll actually take Kaya's coat color. We'll actually save this. We'll take Kaya's coat color. We'll clear that off, of course, because that's just her distinctive scar, and we'll actually play with some of the coloration here. What if we change... Okay, I'm going to change this, make it darker, and we'll leave that there. And then what I'll do is something more like this, possibly. We'll go with a little bit darker in coloration, but with some light as well. I think that's pretty good. A little bit blue, but not too bad. And this will be a good base for Andromeda because she had a little bit lighter, I seem to recall. She had a little bit lighter, although it's almost more chocolatey. Maybe we'll play with that a little bit. She almost had more of kind of her dad's looks in that respect, in that it was a little bit more brownish. What if we do this? Now that's going very blue then. We go here. Is this more brown? This is more brownish. Alright. That'll give her a little bit more of that chocolatey kind of brown color as opposed to the bluish, because she really didn't have that kind of steely gray blue in her as much. She was more brown where she was lighter, if I'm recalling properly. We'll play with that more, though, when we actually are working with their adult designs. But we'll do a little bit with that right now. We'll go ahead and name her Andromeda. There we go. And I'm going to give her a slightly higher pitched bark. She does have everything set pretty well. And then she was still adventurous, for sure. She wasn't quite as much of a troublemaker as Nova was. She tended to follow him into trouble rather than causing it herself. I'm gonna give her the smart trait because she definitely was the strategist of the two. Nova was the main powerhouse, and Andromeda was more of the strategist and planner, and so together they worked really well. And they led their pack, the Galaxy Pack, very, very well, and then of course their mates helped them as well. But between the dynamic of the siblings, definitely she was much more the planner and he was much more the doer. So let's see here as well. I think she wasn't really friendly. I think probably hunter would be a good trait for her as well, because she was very much so a hunter. And she was just all in all definitely more of a strategist and good at, she was more the tactician, whereas he was more the straight up force. And I think we'll go ahead and keep that for now. I think everything's looking good so far. And so let's go ahead and create our last pup. We'll go ahead and set this to Kaya. We'll create, oh my goodness, that is a very fluffy puppy. But we'll go ahead and create another child of Kaya and Courage. And we'll randomize, this time randomize a son. And maybe Dale was darker in color. He was brown, but he was darker. Actually, I do like this look. We'll go ahead and we'll darken him down quite a lot. Let's actually make sure we accept as well, just so that we have access to all the customizing abilities. He was darker. This should be a lot darker as well. Yeah. And then not quite that. Not quite that. That's a little too orange. There's not always a lot of good in-between colors in this, unfortunately. I wish we had more color selection. That's one thing I don't like quite so much about this version of The Sims, is that we don't have a lot of color selection sometimes. That's the feet. So we want to keep those lighter. And then that's the underbelly. We want to keep that kind of lighter as well. And I think all in all, it's hard to get a good balance of dark browns, but I think all in all this is pretty good. We'll go ahead and keep this look for Dale, and we'll go ahead and name him. So his name is Dale. We'll make sure we change his eyes as well. That was what I was just going to do. And we'll change his eyes to blue because he is still a puppy here. And how's that sound? That's a pretty good bark, I think. All the relationship seems to be set properly. So let's go ahead and give him his traits. I think he was more friendly as well. He was probably pretty... what would be another good trait? I think he was smart. And he strikes me as a bit of a loyal wolf. So I'm going to go ahead and give him that trait as well. And we'll have kind of a nice blend of traits here. So let me go through and show all the wolves. I don't know if I actually did that as well with the others. So hopefully you guys got a good look at them when I was creating them. But we'll go ahead and we'll showcase the new wolf. So here is Nova, at least as a puppy. And we'll go ahead and keep that look for him for now. We'll be playing more with his looks next time, though. And here is Finch. She is one of the 2 females. And I don't know, did Finch actually ever get a side story? I don't know that she... Well, actually, I think she may have. I'm not 100% sure, but I think she may have. Andromeda, of course, is another one of the heirs and the founders of the Galaxy Pack, and she has a little bit of that nice brown worked in. And then Dale, who is, again, got some of that very nice brownish color, kind of passed down from Katari originally, and that kind of made its way down into this generation as well. So I think this is going to be where we'll wrap up, and next time we'll come back and work some more with the Galaxy Pack. And definitely make sure, if you haven't already, to check out our newest Wolfquest announcement to learn more about that and to find out kind of where we're going with this. But anyway, for now, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here for today. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. But until then, this is Jay, over and out.